Rev up your engines!
There's now a specially modified Ford pickup truck you can get. It's called the F-150 Super Snake. And they got it painted like the Shelby Cobra GT500. And it puts out 750 horsepower for you truck enthusiasts that like doing burnouts and going fast in straight lines. The F-150 Super Snake. You don't care about gas mileage. You want pure power. Outrageously modified F-150 pickup truck with 750 horsepower. Hey, the Super Snake is probably the thing for you. Here we go. Here's one for people with an endless supply of money who want to have an electric Lamborghini. It turns out that in the middle of the next decade, Lamborghini says they're going to have an electric car. It'll be an electric Lamborghini, a first for them. A short time ago, they made their first SUV called the Urus. So if you have a couple $100,000 up to buy an SUV and you want to have a Lamborghini SUV, guy on the street bought one, but I mean, hey, they own a winery in California. They got all kinds of money. I guess they don't know what to do with it, so they bought that. In the next, 5-6 years, an electric car. It's kind of funny to me that Lamborghini seems to come real late in the game for everything. It was only a few years ago that they finally made an SUV, and then it's going to be 5 or 6 years from now they're going to make an electric car. Seems to me that they're kind of late to the party with this. Maybe they haven't realized that yet, but if you look at what everybody else is doing, they're kind of coming to the party a little bit later than everyone else. Banjo Search says, Scotty, a long-time big fan, why do they use mileage to rate oil changes instead of hours? Hours make more sense with city versus highway driving. Yes, they do. That's a very good point. People are lazy. They don't want to count stuff, so they go by mileage ratings. That's just pretty much easy for the manufacturers to do. They'd be too cheap to put in yet another thing that measures the hours of running, so you know when to change it. Now, of course, with police cars, it'd make total sense because a lot of times they sit like the 4th of July here in Houston and parades in big cities. They sit idling in a hot air-conditioned sun sometimes 90% of the time, so it's hours they're running, not mileage. So it does make sense, but people are lazy. They don't want to have to keep something up, so they just decide to go by mileage ratings instead. It's not that smart of a thing to do, but that's the way that it goes in modern times. The really old cars, yeah, people went by hour ratings. They had clocks on them and measured them on some of them. Say goodbye to the Chevy Volt. They're not going to be making them anymore. 2019 is the last year that they're making the Chevy Volt. That was a plug-in hybrid. It was pretty much a massive failure. GM is now going to the Chevy Bolt. And they went from Volt to Bolt, which is a purely electric car. And they're giving up with the plug-in hybrid Volt that they'd made for a while. The Bolts are going to be all electric cars. It'll be their foray into the electric car, and we'll see what happens with them. You know, as I've always said, as it stands in the United States, at least these days, electric cars are a fringe thing. There's no infrastructure for the power, and they have a limited range. They don't really fit in with American philosophy of just getting driving, not have to worry about sitting there for hours recharging stuff. The Volt is dead and has been replaced by the Bolt, which is a purely electric car. It'll be interesting to see if GM can get anywhere with the Bolt, because they didn't get very far with the Volt. Me, I'm not holding my breath on that one, because the price that they're asking for these electric cars, at least here in the United States, I got a customer that just came from China, where they can get electric cars for like $14,000. View on that is, eventually the Chinese will be importing them here. Sure, there's people always talk about trade, this and that, but if people really went to electric cars, either someone here is going to make them cheaper and good, or they're going to have them made in China and ship them over here. We'll see what happens. We'll see if Scotty's right or wrong in the future, but I wouldn't hold my breath on GM selling a whole bunch of electric cars. Every electric car that they've done so far was pretty much a dismal failure. Even the one that had regular car batteries ages ago, that was a failure too, and they bought them all back and crushed them all except 2. Enoch walked with God, asks Scotty, I got an 04 Honda CRV. My car key jams under the car door, can't open the door. Now it's happening to the passenger side door. and the driver's power window goes down slow. My local mechanic said I should get a new car door from a junkyard. What do you think? I wouldn't go out and buy a new door just because of things like that are happening. And anyways, it's 16 years old. Who knows what kind of shape a used door is going to be in. The keys just wear out over time. Hopefully, you don't just have one key. You got some other keys hiding in a drawer somewhere. And if you don't, anytime you get another car, make sure you got 2 or 3 spare keys at least. Because when the keys wear out, you got another good one, put it right in and you can use it. You don't have to rekey the whole car. That costs a fortune. Odds are your key is just flat wearing out, as it happens to the driver's power window going down slow. First, get some of the silicone spray lube. You can get it anywhere. Auto parts store, hardware stores. I got a video on that. It shows you how to do it. Just roll the window down, then the front and the back where the window rolls up and down, the runners there. Spray the silicone, then run it up, down, more silicone up and down, and that lubricates it. A lot of times that fixes it. Now, if it doesn't, it generally means that the motor regulator assembly is wearing out. And as long as it works, live with it. And if it does break, buy a new motor regulator assembly. And that's an old 4. You can get aftermarket ones for an old 4 that don't cost all that much, that work perfectly fine for less than $100 if you parts around. And door panel's pretty easy to take out and just take the bolts off, bolt it on and off. I've got videos on that too, on replacing electric power windows. It's not that big of a deal. You can do it yourself easily.
So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.